Okay, this is my lithophane. I call it the lithophane drum. I don't think it's something I've done. Um, well, anyway, that's what I call it. So, as usual, I lose my words when I'm trying to think about being interesting, because I'm probably not as interesting as I wish I was. Anyway, so I wanted to show how I managed to put this together. Um, I've seen a bunch of lithophanes that other people put together, lithophanes, um, a bunch of square cubes where they have the top pictures, the side pictures, probably a bottom. I don't know, maybe not because they are lit. I've seen some rounded ones that were single picture that had a tea light behind it. Um, One that I thought was incredible was a lampshade. That's a great idea. I put this over one of our lights and it lit up so perfectly. I thought, that's a great idea. Maybe not of our pictures because, although they look cool. Um, anyway, so, uh, so as far as how I built it, I originally showed some bearings underneath this plate here. This plate kind of goes over the top, which reveals the light that's fixed to the bottom here. And the now there's a motor inside. I basically created that motor from this image that I found. And basically what you do is you know what your size is. This is 31.8. The entire thing is 64.2. So you make a cube and you measure it to what they're saying. So like from the other drawing actually here, let me pull it over. So the other drawing shows a little bit better that, well, maybe not. This one shows 31.8 from here, the centermost part of the hole, to the end of the motor, not including the mounting tab. So anyway, long story short, I make a cube that's of a known size, and then I size the picture up until it matches the size of the cube. And so that way you get it sized and you can make a motor that's identical. So that's kind of the way I did that. And so we'll peel this apart first by hiding the drum, and the drum being our main piece there, of course. The way you work on stuff like this is you can hide the surface by making it wireframe, and then you can see underneath. So here you can see the motor that I designed, and yes, there are two shafts for the motor. So I've got to decide if, when I get them later on today, maybe 5 o'clock even, if I can cut those off and then create a little space in there so that it can sit flat down like this. This is the LED. I've got a flat LED light. I was thinking about getting some LED buttons and just put 3 or 4 of them in a cluster. But right now I have the flat LED panels from some closet lights that I got. So originally I built some really small shafts that the light mounted to, and those broke. So now I've built this big structure that will house the light. It basically sits right on top of it. If we go over here, we can turn the LED on. The problem with the LED right now is it's too low for obvious reasons, so we can move it up. So a little bit lower than that, maybe. I'm not very precise at times. So we can take this piece and grab the two faces and raise them. We'll raise them all four together. That way we can see it. So something like that. So now we've just adjusted that. So anyway, I made this big block that'll be printed right on the base here. And then after I modeled the motor, I realized that my overall drum design was almost too small to accommodate the motor. So then I noticed that I could move the motor right over this block, which means I'm going to have to cut it out, which I will, and have just two posts that come up, large posts for the LED. And the reason for the bulk, if you make really small things and you're printing from the bottom to the top, which is what I typically do, it's easier and it doesn't require supports that way. Then these little tiny shafts will break off really easy because in between the layers is your weakest spot. The length of a layer, or the width and the length, are very strong. So I can't bend this as easy as breaking this, this length off. Anyway, the bottom line is I've broken off many a support, and in fact the latest version that I did, I broke off those supports and did a makeshift, and I made that for my mom. Anyhow, so yeah, I gotta separate that. Basically, I'll just make two posts that pop up for the LED. And then I found a gearing system from a platter that I printed out some time ago, and I cut the outer edge out so that it fit right inside of this top platter. So again, this top platter is what the drum will sit down on. If we turn the drum back on, the picture drum, you can see how that will actually come down even farther, actually, about like that. So, which means this piece is up too high. No big deal. Get it managed. Okay. And so we'll turn that back off. So that'll fit down over this slide, and then I'm like, well, I don't really want all those bearings in there, and I'm not sure I need them, because if you take two pieces of plastic that you've printed and rub them on each other, they're very slick. So I thought, well, maybe I don't need bearings. So I put these teeth on the inside of this top piece here, and then I managed to get the gear the size that I need and located. So originally when I got this gear, the outer gear and the inner gear here, they were quite a bit larger. So then I had to size them down to fit into this area. And then I trimmed a lot of the outside edge of this gear off so that it would fit in here perfectly. I still have yet to create a pin with a cutout. I'm going to wait till I get the motors so I know exactly how big that shaft is. I know the specifications that we saw showed what they are, but I won't count on that. And I can actually create the whole gear with that. So, for example, I need to create a shaft that goes down to this ridge, and the motor specifications show that there's a ridge there. So I can make that shaft that fits to the gear all the way down to here so it stops. And obviously I've got the gear perfectly lined up within the teeth. And these teeth will slide on this top surface. So anyway, that's what we've got so far. And oh, by the way, I did create a USB-C module. Here it is. So we'll turn that on. And some other things came with it, which I didn't want, but that's okay. So the module, I designed that from an actual USB-C module that I have for power, and that'll fit right up in there, and a USB-C plug will fit right in there to power the whole thing. So that means if you have a dual USB-C cable, you could power this from your phone. Well, you can power it from a a high-end Samsung phone anyway. So that's kind of a cool thing to know. Um, anyway, yep. So that's where we're at today. I'm kind of excited to see how it ends up. Hope you enjoyed the video.